In this episode of Kayak Fishing Basics, I'm going to cover depth finder installation. The two installation methods I'm going to show you are based on the ability to take a depth finder unit that is comprehensive. It includes the monitor, whatever houses the battery, and the transducer arm, all of that together as one unit that you can take off of a kayak in less than a minute. The reason that's a good thing is A, you'll never have to drill any holes in your boat with this type of installation, and B, if you upgrade either your depth finder or your kayak, you know, you're going to keep whichever one you want to keep. For instance, if you have if you want a different model kayak next year, you don't have to uninstall, from all of the holes that you've drilled in the boat and take that depth finder off and then try and resell a kayak that's got a bunch of holes in it. So let me go ahead and show you the different tools and the accessories you'll need to set it up this way. Now, for depth finder choice, you're really not just looking for a depth finder. In a lot of cases, you're looking for something that has good charts. And to have good charts, sometimes you'll want to have the chips. These are just Navionic chips that have maps that you just insert these SD cards into the unit, so you have a really good map of wherever it is you want to fish. With that depth finder, you'll get the monitor. This is your screen. You'll get your transducer here, and then this is the base for the monitor. What we're going to be mounting it on, this is a Yak Attack cell block, and what happens here, now this one's already assembled. I'd actually taken an older model depth finder off of this one, so there's a little bit less installation that I have to do because this is already put together. There is some assembly required with this product, but basically, you'll be taking your battery and sliding it in there, and then you'll hook your wires up to that, and you shut the door. I don't have to do that all the way. Your monitor is going to go on top of that, and you'll have, and unfortunately, it's just something that we have to deal with as kayakers. They make these depth finders such that you can run all of this line way to the front and back of much larger boats than ours. Hopefully in years to come they'll make ones with shorter transducer wires, because that's a lot of extra weight to carry in a kayak. The tools you're going to need, you would need your drill to drill the holes, to have your power supply go down into this box. Obviously your drill bits. You'll need a couple tools here. This is just a ratcheting screwdriver and a small socket set. This is a tool for crimping the wires, and we're going to be putting these little guys on the end of the power cable, and they just slide onto the each time that you put the battery in there, they just slide on there. So we'll be installing those on the wires. And then you'll need this is a pretty important piece here. This is a ram transducer arm, and I'll show you how to do that. That's just basically an aluminum rod, and then you got some hardware that basically it's gonna either be mounted on the box, or you can use you can mount it on gear track, or if your kayak, like I got a Wilderness Systems thresher that already has this sort of track on the side. The transducer arm will be mounted there on one of these ram balls that'll slide into the track there, and it'll go up over the side of the kayak and then hang down into the water. So that's how you get the transducer into the water. So this will start coming together here in a moment. I'll just take you step by step. First step obviously is that you assemble the cell block here, and that part's already done, so that's already finished. So let's start by mounting the it's actually going to be the base of this onto the cell block. Now before you start drilling pilot holes to get that base on there, it's a good idea to read the directions. Each each unit is going to have its own unique way of mounting the unit on your boat, or really on this surface. So we'll check out the different mounting options. Looks like for this Raymarine Dragonfly, you can do it cradle up or cradle down. I guess if with a bigger boat, it would hang down from a surface above, but this is the way I'm going to be doing it. Putting that on top of the box here. I've chosen a drill bit that's slightly smaller than the diameter of the hardware that I'm going to be using. So we'll go ahead and drill our pilot holes here, here, and here. Get that base on there, and then we can maybe drill a hole through there to get our power supply. My wife loves when I use the dining room table for this stuff. Now, one thing you want to make sure that you don't mess up is that you have a bolt that sticks down into where that battery is going to sit in there. And I'm in good shape there. You can just see it starting to poke out there, but that's not going to be a problem. It's not far enough down that it'll keep the battery from being able to slide the battery in there. All right, now that the base is on there, let's put the cradle on. Looks like I have to line up the holes there. It seems like I'm breaking it, but I'm not. I'm just lining that up so you see that hole through there. I can put this here, and I got a little bolt there. The directions are telling me to drop in that hole, so. Yep, now we're on there. So this can move side to side, and I imagine in my kayak I'm going to be wanting that facing forward. Then I put the unit in like this. Let's see. There it is. And this has a little locking mechanism. So, all right. Got the monitor on there. Time to run power lines through the top of the box to the battery. Looks like Raymarine's made it nice where there's only one plug that goes into the back of that. Very simple. Some of them have two, and you just have one power line and one transducer line. But being as that this is together, I'm not going to quite put that in right away. I'm going to look at how big of a diameter the power line is, and I may already have a hole that's big enough for this. So caution, 12 volt only. All right, well, I'll remember that. And take this line and run it through, hopefully one that I've already got is big enough. All right, let's try this one. Yep, and we're in business. So that goes through the top. And I won't leave that much through there, but that looks like it's your ground. And we got your your red and your black. We're gonna have to strip these out. We're gonna separate these a little bit because they have to be wide enough to easily, you know, connect with the two terminals. All right, we'll go ahead and pick the right diameter on this wire stripper. Yep. Okay, I've got some exposed wire there. I'm going to take this little terminal clip that'll go on the battery, slide it up in there. I can see it poking through there, right there. And then I'm going to crimp with this tool here. I'll give that a good mash. And if you do this wrong, you know, and you don't have a good connection, I've done that before, you know, you want to get a pack of several of these little clips so that you can redo it when you need to. Now I'm going to go ahead and get some black electrical tape and just clean that up a little bit so I don't have that exposed metal. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other wire. Now we're going to put all that aside for a minute and do a little work on the transducer here. It's going to be at the end of this aluminum rod down in the water, and you got to actually shape this aluminum rod. I've had the ones that have the arm that just swings down on a pivot, but this one's nice because it is, you know, you can adjust the angle pretty nicely. It's a Ram product, and it works real well with the Ram ball in any sort of track system. So that sort of goes on the end there like that. And just slide that on there. And on the opposite end, you have this guy here. And he slides on there. And you do have hardware that tightens in on this stuff. But before I even mess with the hardware, I'm going to shape this. And it's not easy. So basically you're going to want it to either, say this is the side of the kayak here, you're going to want it to take a 90-degree bend down, or if it's going to be on the, you know, the back of the box here, it's going to take that turn, or it's going to come up across, you know, one 90-degree turn and then another once it clears the side of the kayak. Do not do this you know, until you've put the don't put the transducer on there first and then do this, because you'll have the tendency to grab the transducer and use it as a lever, and you might actually break the transducer. So go ahead and work on this with some sort of heavy duty tools. It takes a little bit of force bending that sucker. All right, so that's roughly, yeah, a little more than 90. I might back it off a little bit. So that's about right. Let me get the hardware on this side first. Tighten in on that. And that makes it grab. It just hugs the end of that aluminum rod. All right. I'll put this on there. And then we're looking for this. Thank you, Ram and Yak Attack, for inventing such cool things. I've actually made these myself in the past, things that are similar to this. And it's nice to have a product that you can just buy and throw together that quick. So next thing we want to do is to fix the transducer to this. So let me see how I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to read the instruction manual again. Always good to keep conferring with this. See what I can figure out here. About transducer mounting. Usually they give you a lot of different options based on if you're going to put it on your transom, which you're not. It's a matter of time before they accept the fact that people are putting these things on kayaks and start making it kayak friendly. I actually had to remove some of the extraneous hardware that you would need if you were putting this on a bigger boat. I'm leaving some of these little pieces on there, and then Ram gives you a bolt that goes all the way through all of it. Now, it's important to think about which way this thing's pointed. So this pointy end is going to be downstream. This is your leading edge. All right, it's on there, and it's got that adjustable angle. If I do hit something with it coming through the water, at least that part will kick up out of the way. So I get the right tension. It's not it's going to stay put until it hits something solid. And either this part will rotate up in the ram ball. It'll actually swing upward like this. That's what it's designed for, just to protect that transducer so it doesn't break. Or the transducer head here will pivot out of the way. So, all right, next thing you want to do is you want to get some zip clips or some tape, and just to fix that transducer line, this cable, to the side of this. And I'm a black duct tape kind of guy, so that's where I'm gonna be putting that on there. Some black duct tape. I'll probably clean up right around here, just so I have less funky edges to catch on grass and weeds and whatnot, just to smooth it out with the black duct tape. I've got the transducer arm set up here. I've got the unit working on this cell block. And then you got the problem of all this spaghetti here. So what you're going to do with that, you get these neat little clips back here that you can just wrap it around. You're going to wrap that around until it gets nice and tight. Cell block just gives you somewhere to put it all. And I'm actually going to leave a little bit for mine, because I will put this whole unit on the center console on the gear track that I'm going to install, and then this will kind of come over to the slide tracks on the side, and I will put this little ram ball, I'll just slide it into the slide tracks. So we'll go ahead and do that outside here in just a minute. Boom. Drop that heavy battery in there. Hook up your terminals here. Push those on, and then you got the little door. Slides in there. Tuck all that in there. Okay. We're ready to take this sucker out for to mount it on the kayak itself. I did go ahead and put the SD card. It's right in there. The ones I had used before were big like this, were this size, and the hole in this one wasn't big enough to fit that card. And it took me a second to realize that right down in there is a little place to put your nail there, and that slides out. Well, it did a second ago. There we go. A micro SD card. There's a little micro SD card that was tucked right into the regular big one. So they're all there, but it's the micro that fits into the this slot right here. Now here's an optional step that really just allows you to protect the screen from your finger smudges and salt or any sort of other debris that would end up there. And it's just a, well, it's a clear protective piece of plastic that's really for these, you know, like an iPad or something like that. So I'm actually gonna have to trim this one a little bit. It doesn't fit exactly right, but it's close enough, and it'll certainly help you know, protect the screen. Now I have more than one kayak, and that's what makes this setup particularly nice. I can slide this into the slide track system here. I just tighten these up. Now I've got a little bit of hardware here in the way, so I'm just gonna undo that, slide it down just a little bit, retighten it. That's actually a line guide for my anchor. I'll go ahead and slide the ram ball in there. And it looks like I got the spacing just about right to have this transducer just under the water line by about, it's probably a good 1.5 to 2 inches, which is a good distance. And I'm ready to go. It's that easy. I got one more thing to show you, and that's that I had this boat hardwired with a depth finder before, and I've actually got this black duct tape covering the old holes. So, you know, this shows this is the past, and this is how I'm setting them up, you know, from here forward, because this sort of degrades the resale value of this kayak. I did put some marine goop in there, and then I covered them with the tape just to deal with there being holes in the boat. But this is a much nicer option. Helps the resale value of the kayak for sure, and you know, it's actually less work than drilling holes in your boat to install a depth finder. Now I'm not going to do the full explanation of this depth finder install, but this is the pod. This is the OS pod, something that Wilderness Systems started doing, and you're starting to see other companies follow suit. But it's basically something that you can put the transducer here on the bottom of. You got the battery inside and all the cables. It's all one unit together, just like using the cell block. It's one unit, but it's actually made specifically for this boat. It fits down into, there's a scupper hole right there. Water comes right up through. That way you have a direct connect with this transducer in the water, but it's actually protected up inside a little groove there. So all I have to do is cinch these down. My depth finder is good to go. What's nice about these is they're coming out with different models in the future that are you're going to be able to move this depth finder from, say, a Thresher to an Attack to some other models that we're adapting to this pod type system.